Hello, it's Natasha N.K.O, 30th of June at 21:23. I'm not sure if I'm gonna read from Brothers and Sisters tonight, but I want to introduce a brilliant tome into the circulation of books I'm reading because I finished Affiliation Tales, so I am introducing. It's not quite a book. It's described as follows. It's a repository with files of 14 English language Irish folk tales alongside 14 English language adaptations by someone called Lady Gregory. The files are available open source, and there's a link that I will post. This person, Lady Gregory, has translated it from what is already English but is Irish English into the type of English that English people better understand and appreciate. I've looked at some of them and they look really similar. I've deliberately not read it, so I'm gonna read the original and then I'm gonna read the translation. So the one I'm gonna read today, all I can see at a glance is that the original is the translation rather is twice as long as the original. So that's what I'm most interested in seeing. I've made an effort to look up the pronunciations, except I just realised I didn't look up the pronunciation in the title. So maybe somebody would know that. Right, so the first story is called Birth of Cuchulainn, and that's spelled CU space CHULAINN. Birth of Cuchulainn. Alright. Dectir, the sister of King Conchobar of Ulster, went along with 50 other maidens upon an elopement without the knowledge of the Ulstermen and Conchobar. No track nor trace of them was found, and the Ulstermen were seeking them to the end of 3 years. Dectir and her attendant maidens came then in the form of a bird flock to the plain about Evinmacha and destroyed the vegetation, so that they did not leave even the roots of the grass in the ground there. That thing was a great cause of vexation to the Ulstermen. They accordingly harnessed 9 chariots for the hunting of the birds, for bird hunting was a custom of theirs. Among the hunting party were Conchobar and Fergus MacRog and Amagin and Bly, the Hospitaller and Brickroo. The birds went before them southward across Slieve over the ford of Lehan and the ford of Garak, and over the plain of Gossa between the men of Ross and the men of Arda. Night then overtook them, and the bird flock escaped, so they unharnessed their chariots. Fergus went in search of a lodging, and he came upon a small new house, wherein be found a married couple. They welcomed him and offered him food, but he would not accept their hospitality, because his companions were still abroad without shelter. Come thou with thy companions into the house, and welcome to you all, said they. Fergus thereupon went out to his companions and brought them all in, both men and horses, so that they were all in the house, which bad suddenly became large and magnificent. Then Brickroo went out and he heard Cuchulainn. He heard the sound of the wistful fairy music, but he did not know what it meant. He went toward the sound until he came upon a great, fair, adorned house before him. He approached the door, and on looking in, beheld the master of the house. Come in, O Brickroo, said he. Why standest thou outside? Welcome indeed, said a woman who stood beside the master of the house. Brickroo regarded the handsome, noble-looking warrior and asked, Why does the woman also welcome us? It is on her account that I welcome thee, said the man. Is anyone lacking to you in Emain? There is indeed, replied Bikru. 50 maidens have been lost to us for the space of 3 years. Wouldst thou recognise them if thou sawest them? Asked the man. I might not recognise them, said Bikru. The lapse of 3 years, or sickness of 3 years, may perhaps cause ignorance or lack of recognition on my part. Nevertheless, try to recognise them, said the man. The 50 maidens whom you seek are here in the house, and the chief of them is she who is here by my side. Dectyre is her name, and it is they who came in the form of the bird flock to Emain Macha in order to induce the Ulstermen to come hither. The woman gave a purple bordered mantle to Brookaroo, and he went back thereafter to his companions. While returning to his company, Brookaroo thought to himself as follows. These 50 maidens who are lacking to Concovar to find them will be to flatter him. Therefore I will conceal from him that I have found his sister with her attendants. I will only say that I have found a house and a company of lovely women therein. When Bikuru arrived, Concovar asked him the news. What is that to thee? Asked Bikuru. I came upon a magnificent house. Therein I saw a queen, radiant and noble, dear and lovable, a company of women, fair and pure, a household generous and shining. Off with you to the house, commanded Concovar. The master of that house is a subject of mine, for it is in my land he dwells. Let his wife come and sleep with me tonight. No one was found who would go upon this errand except Fergus. He went and spoke his message, and he was welcomed, and the woman came with him. She complained to Fergus that the pains of childbirth were upon her. Then Fergus said to Concovar that a respite should be granted to her. Thereupon the company lay down beside each other and slept. When they awoke in the morning, they saw a little boy in the fold of Concovar's cloak. Take the child to thee, said Concovar to his sister. I didn't look this one now. Finnchom. Take the child to thee, said Concovar to his sister Vinkim. When Vinkim looked at the little boy beside Concovar, she said, My heart loves this boy so that he is the same with me as my own son Conall. There is indeed little difference between them, said Vicru. That child is the son of thine own sister Dectyre. She it is who, with her 50 maidens, has been absent from Emain for 3 years and is now here. In the brackets it says, the mysterious stranger who was with Dectyre was Lug Longarm of the Tuatha Danann. The little child was named Sitanta until he slew the hound of Cuchulainn the smith, after which he was known as Cuchulainn, Hound of Cuchulainn. The end. Gosh. Okay, so the second one has been translated into English. So regardless of how the words seem, I'm going to pronounce them as English. So this is called Birth of Cuchulainn or Cuchulainn. It's spelled Cuchulain. In a long time ago, Concobar, son of Ness, was king of Ulster, and he held his court in the palace of Emain Macha, and this is the way he came to be king. He was but a young lad, and his father was not living, and Fergus, son of Roch, who was at that time king of Ulster, asked his mother Ness in marriage. Now Ness, that was at one time the quietest and kindest of the women of Ireland, had got to be unkind and treacherous because of an unkindness that had been done to her, and she planned to get the kingdom away from Fergus for her own son. So she said to Fergus, Let Concovar hold the kingdom for a year, so that his children after him may be called the children of a king, and that is the marriage portion I will ask of you. You may do that, the men of Ulster said to him, for even though Concovar gets the name of being king, it is yourself that will be our king all the time. So Fergus agreed to it, and he took Ness as his wife, and her son Concovar was made king in his place. Part 2. But all through the year, Ness was working to keep the kingdom for him, and she gave great presents to the chief men of Ulster to get them on her side. And though Conchobar was but a young lad at that time, he was wise in his judgments and brave in battle, and good in shape and in form, and they liked him well. And at the end of the year, when Fergus asked to have the kingship back again, they consulted together, and it is what they agreed, that Conchobar was to keep it, and they said, "It is little Fergus thinks about us, when he was so ready to give up his rule over us for a year. And let Conchobar keep the kingship," they said, "and let Fergus keep the wife he has got." Now it happened one day that Conchobar was making a feast at Emmenmacha for the marriage of his sister Dectyr with Sualtim, Sualtim, son of Rog, Roig. And at the feast Dectyr was thirsty, and they gave her a cup of wine. And as she was drinking it, a mayfly flew into the cup, and she drank it down with the wine. And presently she wept into her sunny parlour, and her 50 maidens along with her, and she fell into a deep sleep. And in her sleep, Lugh, Lugh, Lugh of the Long Hand, appeared to her, and he said, "It is I myself was the mayfly that came to you in the cup, and it is with me you must come away now, and your 50 maidens along with you." And he put on them the appearance of a flock of birds, and they went with him southward till they came to Brunabine, Brugh space N-A space Boinne, the dwelling place of the Seed, Sidhe. And no one at Emmenmacha could get tale or tidings of them, or know where they had gone, or what had happened them. It was about a year after that time, there was another feast in Emain, and Conchobar and his chief men were sitting at the feast. And suddenly they saw from the window a great flock of birds that lit on the ground and began to eat up everything before them, so that not so much as a blade of grass was left. Part 3. The men of Ulster were vexed when they saw the birds destroying all before them, and they yoked 9 of their chariots to follow after them. Conchobar was in his own chariot, and there were following with him Fergus, son of Roch, and Lager Baldac, that's Lae, fancy E, Gaire, and then Buadach, the battle winner, and Celtair, Celthair, son of Ulfachar, Uitechair, and many others, and Bricrew, Bricriu, of the bitter tongue, was along with them. They followed after the birds across the whole country southward, across Slieve Froud. Oh, goodness, I'm going to have to check the pronunciations for the next ones, for all of the names next time. And this is Slieve, then Fuad, by Aflifan, by Afgarak and Magosai, between Ferois, Fir, Rois, and Ferarde, Fer, and then Arda, well, that's a fancy A and the E. They followed after the birds across the whole country southward, across Slieve Froud, by Aflifan, by Afgarak and Magotha, between Ferois and Ferarde, and the birds before them always. They were the most beautiful that had ever been seen. 9 flocks of them there were, linked together 2 and 2 with a chain of silver, and at the head of every flock there were 2 birds of different colours, linked together with a chain of gold, and there were 3 birds that flew by themselves, and they all went before the chariots to the far end of the country until the fall of night, and then there was no more seen of them. And when the dark night was coming on, Conchobar said to his people, "It is best for us to unyoke the chariots now, and to look for some place where we can spend the night." Then Fergus went forward to look for some place, and what he came to was a very small, poor-looking house. A man and a woman were in it, and when they saw him they said, "Bring your companions here along with you, and they will be welcome." Fergus went back to his companions and told them what he had seen. But Vickery said, "Where is the use of going into a house like that, with neither room nor provisions nor coverings in it? It is not worth our while to be going there." Then Vickery went on himself to the place where the house was. But when he came to it, what he saw was a grand, new, well-lighted house, and at Part 4, the door, there was a young man wearing armour, very tall and handsome and shining, and he said, "Come into the house, Vickery." And he said, "Come into the house, Vickery. Why are you looking about you?" And there was a young woman beside him, fine and noble, and with curled hair, and she said, "Surely there is a welcome before you from me." "Why does she welcome me?" said Vickery. "It is on account of her that I myself welcome you," said the young man. "And is there no one missing from you at Emain?" he said. "There is surely," said Vickery. "We are missing 50 young girls for the length of a year." "Would you know them again if you saw them?" said the young man. If I would not know them, said Vickery, "it is because a year might make a change in them, so that I would not be sure." "Try and know them again," said the man, "for the 50 young girls are in this house, and this woman beside me is their mistress, Dectire. It was they themselves changed into birds that went to Emen Macha to bring you here." Then Dectire gave Vickery a purple cloak with gold fringes, and he went back to find his companions. But while he was going, he thought to himself, "Concobar would give great treasure to find these 50 young girls again, and his sister along with them. I will not tell him I have found them. I will only say I have found a house with beautiful women in it, and no more than that." When Concobar saw Vickery, he asked news of him. "What news do you bring back with you, Vickery?" he said. "I came to a fine, well-lighted house," said Vickery. "I saw a queen, noble, kind, with royal looks, with curled hair. I saw a troop of women, beautiful, well-dressed. I saw the man of the house, tall and open-handed and shining." "Let us go there for the night," said Concobar. So they brought their chariots and their horses and their arms, and they were hardly in the house when every sort of food and of drink, some they knew and, Part 5, some they did not know, was put before them, so that they never spent a better night. And when they had eaten and drunk and began to be satisfied, Concobar said to the young man, "Where is the mistress of the house, that she does not come to bid us welcome?" "You cannot see her tonight," said he, "for she is in the pains of childbirth." So they rested there that night, and in the morning Concobar was the first to rise up, but he saw no more of the man of the house, and what he heard was the cry of a child. And he went to the room it came from, and there he saw Dectire, and her maidens about her, and a young child beside her, and she bade Concobar welcome. And she told him all that had happened to her, and that she had called him there to bring herself and the child back to Emain Macha. And Concobar said, "It is well you have done by me, Dectire. You gave shelter to me and to my chariots. You kept the cold from my horses. You gave food to me and my people, and now you have given us this good gift. And let our sister, Finchem, Finchoem, and let our sister Finchem bring up the child," he said. "No, it is not for her to bring him up, it is for me," said Sencha, Sencha, son of Ailel, Ailell, chief judge and chief poet of Ulster. "For I am skilled, I am good in disputes, I am not forgetful. I speak before anyone at all in the presence of the king. I watch over what he says. I give judgment in the quarrels of kings. I am judge of the men of Ulster. No one has a right to dispute my claim, but only Concobar." "If the child is given time to bring up," said Blai, Blai, the distributor, "he will not suffer from want of care or from forgetfulness. It is my messages that do the will of Concobar. I call up the fighting men from all Ireland. I am well able to provide for them for a week, or even for 10 days. I settle their business and their disputes. I support their honour. I get satisfaction for their results. No, I get satisfaction for their insults." Page 6, or Part 6, rather. "You think too much of yourself," said Fergus. It is It is I that will bring up the child. I am strong. I have knowledge. I am the king's messenger. No one can stand up against me in honour or riches. I am hardened to war and battles. I am a good craftsman. I am worthy to bring up a child. I am the protector of all the unhappy. The strong are afraid of me. I am the helper of the weak. If you will listen to me at last, now you are quiet, said Amagin. I am able to bring up a child like a king. The people praise my honour, my bravery, my courage, my wisdom. They praise my good luck, my age, my speaking, my name, my courage and my race. Though I am a fighter, I am a poet. I am worthy of the king's favour. I overcome all the men who fight from their chariots. I owe thanks to no one except Concovar. I obey no one but the king. Then Senkar said, let Finkem keep the child until we come to Emain, and Moran the judge will settle the question when we are there. So the men of Ulster set out for Emain, Finkem having the child with her, and when they came there, Moran gave his judgment. It is for Concovar, he said, to help the child to a good name, for he is next of kin to him. Let Senkar teach him words and speaking. Let Fergus hold him on his knees. Let Amagen be his tutor. And he said, this child will be praised by all, by chariot drivers and fighters, by kings and by wise men. He shall be loved by many men. He will avenge all your wrongs. He will defend your fords. He will fight all your battles. And so it was settled, and the child was left until he should come to sensible years, with his mother Dectire and with her husband Sualtim. And they brought him up upon the plain of Muthmane, Muirthemne, and the name he was known by was Satanta, son of Sartim. The end. Phew, wow. So I've got some more research to do. There's a journal article that talks about the English woman's methods and intentions in the translations. So maybe that might be worth reading at some point. Thanks for listening.